G'day folks, Spackman here. Bloody stoked to be here with you once again, and today we're looking at making plans for bases. So some of the bases I've hit and the plan for them and how that plan actually took place as to whether everything went to plan or if I had to make adjustments, some of which I may or may not have already sort of prepared for beforehand. Alright, so quick recap. These are from the in-game Clan War Leagues. We're currently in Champion League 2. Embarrassing for us. We should be in Champs 1, but unfortunately we dropped out due to a mishit. We just weren't having a very good run, that CWL. Anyway, but we're fighting for our way back, and we're doing pretty well so far. Won every war. We're looking good, but the two toughest opponents we're going to be fighting in the last two. However, that's not what this is about. Obviously, the first clan we fought was tanking, but despite that, still happened to attack. Now, they also didn't have any clan castle troops, so bear that in mind for this attack, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is this, the plan for the base. So, this is kind of how I like to plan out my attacks, and that's really unsettling. I just noticed King is in yellow. King should be green. That's I'm embarrassed. Might need to if I put this out there, it's a big thing for me because I don't like the fact that that's not green. Anyway, so Queen Charge Lalo is basically every single one of these hits, but obviously each base is different. Each attack is different. Starting off, P.E.K.K.A and the King funneling on either side. The King on the right-hand side in case of a Tesla farm there, which there ended up being. Then a jump very carefully placed to not cover the internal sort of small narrow compartment there above the eagle, and also not access the outside area. That does then give the Queen access to everything, every Inferno, the eagle, and the enemy Queen down below. Finally, finishing off with the Lalo, as you can see there. Now, let's watch this hit in action and see how everything actually panned out. In the end, it was very, very similar to the original plan. The reason I wanted the King to get so much value there is I didn't want the Queen to get stuck on all of this sort of trash and the Archer Tower and the mortar on the right-hand side. Unfortunately, there was a Tesla farm on the right. And back to the raid, there was a test wall breaker, and then freeze on the Inferno Tower, a bunch more wall breakers, and the Queen goes in. I was also delaying dropping the healers to get the King out of the way, and now he finally is, so I can drop the healers. The Coconut Loon did a great job there in also picking up a black mine. Now the Queen's getting everything she can here. Rage her up as she is taking a bit of fire. Jump over this area exactly as was written in the original plan. Now she's taking down this whole thing. Obviously, this is where you would have used a poison normally should there be a defending clan castle, but that wasn't the case at this particular time. Now, because the King didn't get as much value as we were hoping, the Queen does get stuck and does take a decent amount of time on everything over here on the right-hand side. And as a result, I'll zoom out a bit, I do end up having to start the Lalo before I get the enemy Queen down, but that's just because I didn't want to end up having a time fail, which you can easily do during a long Queen charge. I also do try and drop a minion down here to try and help deal with some of that. Now, as you can see, despite the fact the Queen's going on there, I try not to get too distracted, but I do need to get my Lalo started. So it's a single hound Lalo, and then a slammer on the other air defense. I was going to be holding my slammer just in case I needed it on a Tesla farm on the left, but I knew they were appearing on the right. Now my Queen just manages to get through the enemy Queen there, using her ability and the final rage to do that. Now all of the loons are on the town hall, the warden ability is up, some do path around it, but do manage to get it down. Now the Queen is dealing with this final Inferno Tower, and the Queen managed to get down every single thing I wanted her to, as you saw in that sort of red area, which was her intended target, I guess. So in the end here, the slammer is still up, loons inside it, and we still have a spare haste, which I guess would have been a poison. in a normal raid. So should have tripled normally. Really happy with this hit. Everything went exactly as was hoping it would. Let's speed this up and let's get into the next one, because there are 3 of them and we're talking about each of them a little bit in detail to go through. Now the second hit, I don't actually have a picture for you. Reason being, a clanmate happened to have a very similar base, and I was trialing that with friendly challenges time and time again, and that's kind of how I formulated my plan on this particular base. So low walls, but hey, come on. There we go. There we go. The old clap always works. Low walls, but everything else is maxed as far as we could tell. And very similar base, actually, to the one I ended up taking on at the very end. Now, the idea here was actually, interestingly, to Queen Charge through the narrow passageway here where the expo is, between the Eagle compartment and the Inferno compartment. And the reason for that was I had 2 plans to take care of the Eagle and the Inferno separately. One was to use the King on the right-hand side to take down the Archer Towers and the trash in the area, and then do a Coconut Loon Baby Dragon to take down the Inferno Tower. And on the left-hand side, I'm going to be using a Baby Dragon to take down the Archer Tower and the storage there, and then place a rage for the Queen Walk in such a way that I can then drop loons through it to take down the Eagle Artillery. So that was the plan, and the Eagle would take down everything sort of in the center area, drop a slammer up the top here, and then a number of loons sort of from 1 to 2 o'clock. And because of the slammer and the Queen Walk, they would end up pathing towards the Town Hall. I also have a jump in this particular attack, which we'll start getting into now. So for 2 ways to get the Town Hall. The first one was actually trying to jump into the Town Hall and get the Queen to take it down. If that didn't work, then I would slammer and Lalo into it. No problem. Either way, the Town Hall's down because we have to guarantee the 2-star. So Queen is down, Tesla down below. The Teslas weren't different in this base than they were in the base that I was friendly challenging, as were the hero locations and a couple of traps. So you never want to expect it to be exactly the same as whatever you're practicing on. But the Baby Dragon does a great job in getting its value there. And a double loon on this mortar here just to make sure that the King definitely get passed to the right. And one thing that almost that Coconut Loon luring that Black Mine, I was just like, are you kidding me? During the raid. Anyway, Rage about to go down, and then you'll see 4 loons to take down the Eagle Artillery there. Now, my King actually, unfortunately, in this particular hit got so much value that in the end I had to change my plan entirely, and I wasn't expecting that. So really happy in this hit to see dragons in the clan castle. A poison to deal with them and the enemy queen all at once. I don't need to rage up too much to get through all of that. Baby Dragon does a great job in taking down this Inferno here. But as you can see here, the King is still going. I thought the Wizard Tower would be up. Definitely the Expo would be up. And that the loons would then hit those to then go towards the Town Hall. And that the Queen would be lured over by that sweeper, but that wasn't the case. And in the end, because of the value, I'm going to pause it here, because of the value that the King got and the Queen going to the left, I need to adjust now to make sure that I can definitely get the Town Hall. So I start the Lalo first and drop the Slammer afterwards in order to take down everything here. And in the end, all works out fine, not a problem in the world. I do have a spare rage, but I hold on to that as I might need it to take down the Town Hall, because at this point in time, I didn't know which way the raid was going. So freeze the Town Hall here, as it was basically in range of taking down all my loons. And unfortunately, my Warden is distracted by the King as well, who, despite being an absolute superstar and taking down so much more than I wanted him to, almost wrecked the entire raid. Because right now I have very few loons left. There's 2 loons, I think. 2 loons? 2 loons left. The Slammer, which is full of loons, and the Warden, plus a number of minions. But the base is destroyed. The Slammer's dead. Raged loons are coming out. And because of the fact the King has finally gone down, despite walking the whole bloody base, the Warden is finally on the loons now and is able to give them a protection under haste at the very end to seal the deal. So again, I should have perhaps predicted the king's ability to get through so much a bit better. But despite the fact that I thought I'd planned properly, I had to adjust on the fly, but that wasn't a problem. Well, it was, but I managed to deal with it. Now, the final hit. This one wasn't a 3-star. Wasn't a 3-star, but I think it's important to show those as well, particularly in a video like this where we are talking about plans. Now, as you can see, the town hall and the test locations are very similar to the previous one. This one here, however, has the queen right up top and a number of walls blocking the path inside, as the other one had a path directly straight through the guts of the base. So let's have a look at the plan that I had for this particular attack. Now, I was hoping to start with the king on the queen up top there, but I realized with everything else that I was placing, I would have activated the eagle artillery. 200 troop space is what activates it when it's level 3. The heroes are worth 25 each. The troops are worth as they are listed, and spells are worth 5 for every spell space they take up. A rage is worth 10, for example. And as a result, I did the numbers and I realized dropping the king would have pushed it over the limit. The eagle would have activated a little bit too early for me. So, Queen Charge into the base. As you can see, the arrows indicate her path. The black line you see there is intended to be wall breakers. And a number of things here are very time sensitive. The 3 loons and the baby dragon, I had to get down. There's a mortar there, a builder hut, and a storage. I had to get them down before the queen destroyed the barracks and the gold elixir, the gold collector down the very bottom there, or she would have passed to the right rather than gone inside as I wanted her to. And then once the queen gets further round, a pecker and a whiz to funnel that area, and once again a loon and baby dragon on the inferno. Jump the queen inside, king taking down the enemy queen, and as a result the slammer theoretically should path as was arrowed there, and then a Lalo onto the town hall. That was the plan. And I also had thought if there's potentially Teslas on, well, I started the replay without you guys. All right, let's get back into it. Now, I'd also thought that if there were Teslas on the left of this, a dark elixir collector, that, a Tesla, I would drop 2 loons on it very quickly because I wanted the queen to definitely pass to the right. Also, the queen was just out of range of the cannon there. I was really hoping she was, as I wanted to delay the healers a tiny bit to make sure they were going to be out of the inferno range and also not targeted by the archer tower there. So, blink and you'll miss it. A lot's happened already. The 3 loons and the baby dragon have taken down the various things I said they needed to take down, and I test wall breaker and then 3 wall breakers took down that wall, and now the queen's going to path in as planned. And in the end, with this attack, one thing I didn't consider is the amount of time I spent just doing this queen charge. In the end, time was going to be a major problem for me. It wasn't what ruined the raid, but it definitely didn't help the situation. So Baby Dragon still taking down a lot here, helping out with everything, even gets that cannon down, which is lovely. Last few archers coming out of the clan castle now. Now I haven't dropped anything yet. I still don't drop the king yet because I don't want to activate the eagle artillery too early. What I could have done in hindsight is stop dropping my P.E.K.K.A. and Whiz earlier and drop the king instead, but you know, it is what it is. So I drop the P.E.K.K.A. now and then a Whiz on the outside once I know this archer tower is engaged with the P.E.K.K.A. and they clear up that whole area. Drop the rage, the jump down, and the queen's going inside. And in a second, we drop the coconut loon and the baby dragon, but the baby dragon still bloody collects a black mine, and the queen ends up dealing with the inferno for me. Look at this. What are the odds? It's not fair. It's not fair. Oh well. Now, the queen has finally jumped to the outside. She was in the wrong rotation for ages, and I see a big Tesla farm. Not what I wanted to see up there. So we end up dropping the slammer and then a couple loons to help take that down. But the slammer ends up copping some serious heat and doesn't get as far as I wanted it to, as I was hoping to haste the loons that came out of it. In the end, I forgot about doing it, but I also don't think it would have got too much value. So the idea is now I've got to pause it for a second, just because the raid's been going on for 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 10 seconds. There's 50 seconds left in the raid, and there's a lot of base left to go. Didn't expect the Queen Charge to take so long, and that was my bad. So right now, I still know I can get this tripled if everything works out. So I've dropped the loons, dropped the ward, and it's working with the loons, taking everything down. The hounds moved across, but the warden doesn't keep up with the loons. They take down the town hall, it never gets in range, and all the loons perish. And that was the end of the hit. Couldn't do any more. So really unfortunate there. I don't think I could have planned that. I don't think I could have foreseen that. I mean, in hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have hasted the loons, but in general, you expect the warden to stick with your troops, don't you? Oh well, not to be. In the end, guys, that is what it is. Bit of a video, bit of a longer, slightly longer video than my other ones, showing you the importance of, doing a planned out attack, trying to account for everything you can in the various attack, and in this particular case, in the last hit, getting some really some proper pathing for your queen in your queen charge due to what you've taken down and creating funnels, whatnot. Hope you enjoyed. Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with anyone that might appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.